Hello and welcome to Out of Mana, the video game podcast where we talk about games, consoles, and developers, old and new, along with current events and other various topics. I'm Garrett.
I'm Ben.
And we'll be your co-host this Monday, November 9th, 2020. And today is going to be a bit of a special episode because it's officially the last week of this generation of game consoles.
We got, 3 more days this Thursday?
Actually, I think the new Xboxes come out tomorrow, November 10th. So Xbox Series X and
They're dropping first.
The Series S are dropping first, and then PS5 is right around the corner on November 12th. It's been a heck of a generation.
It has. It was 7 years?
It's been, since 2013, I think.
Yeah, 2013.
Man, we did a little bit of research on this one just because we had to find all the games that came out.
A whole slew of games.
We have a big list of games. Like, we don't even know where to begin.
Smorgasbord. Like, there's something to grab from everywhere, every genre, anything.
I don't know about you, but I think this might be one of the best generations of games that I've played.
I mean, that's kind of hard to say, though. It depends on your outlook, because the previous generations were a lot more prolific in gaming.
I guess you're right. Maybe apart from a few of these on here that made a huge impact.
Compared to the previous generation, I will say that these games are consistently better.
Yes.
The previous generation, the 360 generation, had some real stinkers, to put it nicely.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that one. And of course, you can't forget about the classics on the SNES. And
when I say previous generations, like those were prolific, that's what I mean. I mean those generations, like especially the PS2 generation, the PS1. Games were being dropped on those constantly by many, many different developers.
Yeah, PS2 was a pretty awesome one.
The market was a lot more open back then for developers, so you just had a lot more variety in gaming.
Yeah, no kidding. But man, God, so many good games.
This generation, it's hard to pick. The list goes on.
It literally does. And I was looking at the dates, and I feel like a lot of good games came out around like 2015, like the middle of the generation.
I feel like that was the start of when they started to really drop like that.
Yeah, because I think developers really started to figure out how to work with the system.
Yeah,
they finally realized how they can cut the corners on the PS4 and the Xbox to make their games run even better,
to get the most out of it completely.
And then just this year, 2020, we just got some incredible games where they've mastered the system. And now we get to move on to the next one and see what they can do next.
Oh man, I'm excited. I really am.
So before we dive into all that, what have you been up to? Been playing any new games or just the...
I'm gonna say I've been kind of playing what I've said I've been playing before, which is Subnautica, Below Zero, and Hades, of course.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I've been kind of waiting off because with the PS5, I was very, very fortunate to get my pre-order, and as far as I know, I'm going to be able to go to Best Buy on the 12th and pick it up, and I'm a little worried because...
Not be stabbed in the parking lot on his way back.
I'm going to park as close as I can because I'm terrified of how this day is going to go. It's either I'm going to get harassed as soon as I walk out the door, or they're just not going to have my PS5, and I'm going to be disappointed.
Fortunately, Garrett has those long gazelle legs, so he'll be bounding away.
I'm just going to sprint as fast as I can.
Like the slight crack of a stick, near the watering hole, and he's gone.
Yeah, so I've just been playing Hades, of course. Finally rolled credits on that.
Oh yeah, nice, dude.
I know. So it takes about 10 completed runs.
10 successful escapes. Okay.
Yeah. And then more Clone Hero. I've been playing Clone Hero.
And you streamed a few times, I've noticed.
Yeah, I have done a few streams. I didn't give much of a notice on it just because I'm still trying to get the stream set up.
Yeah.
To sound good, look good. I still need to do an overlay and everything. So it's at its very early stages.
Experimental stage still.
But once we get it set, and especially with the PS5, I believe it's going to have built-in streaming capabilities.
So I've heard.
I might pick up the PlayStation camera and just stream right from my PS5. So that might be a good opportunity to do some streams. So look forward to that. And Ben, I think you wanted to stream some too, right?
I did. I do want to do some streaming. I'm getting some stuff prepped for that. And like I mentioned before, I'm probably going to do Subnautica Below Zero when that fully releases. I don't think I'm going to do the update yet. Okay. I'm just going to go for the full game when that releases because it's going to be fun to watch.
Do you know when that might be?
I'm guessing in the next few months. Okay. Because it's really close, but that's uneducated. I'm saying that just as a guess.
Okay. Yeah. It's always hard to say with early access whether it's going to be like a month or years. I don't know what, there was some game I was thinking of the other day that they were in early access for like, it felt like 2 years. And then by the time they finally released it, everyone was like done with it. So
it's always a toss up. I mean, like I mentioned before, there's the bare metal game Sui Generis, which has been in early access for at least a decade now.
Yeah.
And they released Exanima, which is their early access release. It's a different game though. But I think that's like 6 or 7 years old now.
Yeah.
And they are updating it, but it is slow and painful, to put it mildly.
Yeah, that's got to be tough because obviously they don't want to put out a bad game.
They needed money, and a lot of the time early access is released to get that money in the process of still making the game.
Did they do a Kickstarter?
They did. I was part of the Kickstarter.
Okay. Those are, man, I love when those games come to fruition. Like Bloodstained.
Yeah.
That one was really good.
Yeah.
That was the game created by the guy who did, like, the original creator of Castlevania.
Yeah. Yeah.
He went off and I guess he left Konami, and he went off and did his own thing and made Bloodstained Ritual of the Night or Curse of the Moon. Ritual of the Night, yeah.
Ritual of the Night.
Actually, both. There was like an 8-bit one, and then the current gen kind of graphic style. And that one was a lot of fun, actually.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that game. I played that this year, actually, right when COVID started.
Oh, shit. Okay.
I had it in my backlog. I'm like, well, looks like it's finally time to play this. And it was actually a really good time.
I've still got one in my backlog that I had since Kickstarter and early access days, which is Kingdom Come.
Kingdom Come.
I was in the Kickstarter. I did the early access. I was an alpha tester and a beta tester and saw the glitches that went with it. And I have the game unopened sitting on my shelf right now, so I need to play that at some point.
At least it's a really nice case. It makes a good decorative item.
It does, and it has a kick-ass poster with it. I mean, it's a great game. I've heard enough about the finished product, and I played enough of the early product. It's going to be a good game. I just need to play it.
I feel like the games that we do betas for and all that kind of stuff are the ones we never end up playing.
Divinity, I did beta for Divinity Original Sin. I was also Kickstarter for that, and I ended up playing through it. I ended up playing through it all the way. I played through the beta probably 10 times before I actually got the full game.
There's probably only 2 or 3 games that I played the beta for. One of them being Elder Scrolls Online, which we already talked about that on another podcast about how we were
not even worth it. I mean, there's a lot of love for that game. I get it.
There's a lot in that game.
Because it's got the IP that's great, but online games are just kind of,
Yeah, I feel like there's a great world to explore there. It's just not the right time for at least me. I don't have that kind of mindset right now.
I just don't have that mindset, that interest, and the time.
Yeah, I'd rather just wait for Elder Scrolls 6, get that.
And boy, am I waiting. Oh, God, I want that so bad.
Well, we're going to be waiting a while.
I know.
And it's only going to be on Xbox or PC.
I'm going to be cutting off a lot of beers before that one comes out.
Well, let's talk about some of the games you've been playing. Anything new in Subnautica or Hades?
Nothing too new worth mentioning, but in Hades, I guess so. I've completed a few more escape attempts.
Okay.
And failed many others, and it's been going good. It's been going alright. I've discovered a lot more to the game that's just awesome. It continues to be awesome, which I think you've discovered as well.
I have, yeah. I rolled credits earlier today, actually.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, the game just keeps going. Like, rolling credits feels like the prologue.
Oh.
Just to say it like that. I'm not sure how far this goes, but we're going to be doing a spoiler cast for Hades. We promise. We talked about it before.
Yep.
It's literally happening right after this, so you can look forward to it coming this week after this episode.
We are stoked to talk about Hades in depth all the way.
It's what we do before the podcast. We just talk about Hades for like half an hour before we actually start recording.
We literally just did that. Yeah, it was,
Okay. For me,
yeah. What about you? Yeah.
Just Clone Hero and Hades. So I already talked about Hades, but Clone Hero, I'm still working on getting 5+ stars on all the songs from Guitar Hero 1 through 3.
How many have you got so far?
I've gotten about 70% of the way through Guitar Hero 1.
Okay.
Haven't barely touched 2 or 3. I'm just trying to go from like the top and just go down the list. If you happen to hop into one of the streams, that's what I've been doing.
I have checked out like 1 or 2. Yeah. And
it's man, some of these songs. First of all, there's so many songs I just forgot existed in these games. Like I'm going through Guitar Hero 1. I'm like, I recognize maybe 10 of these songs. Did they just exit my mind, or were they just so... There's something about the song list in Guitar Hero 1 that it didn't connect with me.
Really?
Maybe because I was young and it was the first one.
I feel, you know what, come to think of it, I feel like a lot of the songs I remember from Guitar Hero series being Guitar Hero 2.
Guitar Hero 2 and 3 were the ones that really, I think 3 stuck with me the most, just because it had a lot more...
What's one song that jumps at you, like, first thought?
Well, for me, it's Helicopter by Block Party, mainly because that was my favorite song from the game, and then it ended up becoming one of my favorite bands of all time, so it introduced me to one of my favorite bands.
All right. That's one way to do it. Yeah, that's nice and organic.
Of course, then there's Dragon Force, Through the Fire and Flames, Devil Went Down to Georgia.
Yep.
That's all Guitar Hero 3, so I have to say that's probably the one that made the biggest impact on me. And it just had more, I don't want to say current gen songs, but it just had less classic rock or weird.
Guitar Hero 1 and 2 were more on the classic rock side, for sure.
Yeah, and they had just obscure stuff, which is good, because it's good to, like, get exposed.
It's not obscure, it's just not remembered very well. Maybe, I wouldn't call it obscure. I think obscure is too strong.
I'm playing through Guitar Hero 1, I'm like, how did some of these songs get in here?
Wow.
Like, there's this one called, like, Caveman Rejoice, and I'm like,
wow.
Okay, who is this? Who's this song? Am I just out of the loop here? I just don't... It's cool that some of these songs got into the game.
It's cool that old artists deserve recognition still.
Okay. I feel like I'm decently knowledgeable with music, and there's some of these artists which I don't know. And I'm sure they did it on purpose, you know?
Yeah, of course.
Especially with getting the license probably to even have the... I think Harmonix did covers of all these songs. None of them were original, I'm pretty sure.
Really?
Yeah. I don't think, at least in the beginning. I think they got...
You know what? You know, now that you mention that, I think I do remember them being different from the originals, yeah.
Yeah, they're slightly different. They did a really good job, though.
You said The Devil Went Down to Georgia. Like, that's not the original version of it. I know that for sure.
So, that one... that was a rock version by Steve Oma.
Yeah, I've forgotten who did the cover version of that, but I know the original singer for that, the original guy who did the band just died, Charlie Daniels.
Yeah, oh man, that's so sad.
Yeah, I should have had him sign my album, damn it.
You have one?
Yes, are you kidding?
Oh my god, that would have been so cool.
Have you seen my collection?
I have seen your collection.
You have not seen the vastness.
Not even album, literal record.
Like Warehouse 42, like vast.
So yeah, that's what I've been playing.
Totally.
Clone Hero, I've been really excited to play again. Some of these songs are kicking my ass, unfortunately.
But good. That means that gives you like the incentive to kick their ass.
Yeah, it's been really satisfying. On top of that, I've noticed that since I've played rhythm games since then, it's actually affected how I'm playing Guitar Hero.
Yeah, in good or bad?
In a good way, because I had this, for some reason when I played before, I had a really hard time strumming up and down. I typically just did like the classic down strums with my thumb.
Yeah, that reminds me of me. Yeah.
And I just I spammed that as much as possible, and it was really exhausting stamina wise. But since then, I've played a lot more rhythm games to where I had to do my best to utilize what I have.
To actually do it like correctly,
so to speak, like the meta way.
Yeah.
And it's helped me so much being able to just strum up and down. I think a lot of it has to do with the rhythm games that I've played include so many more notes and different...
I remember watching you play a few of them at the arcade and being like, whoa.
Yeah, so I think it's just a lot easier for me to read the note highway to where I'm so used to so many things coming at me at once. Now Guitar Hero seems a lot more doable.
Okay.
So I'm able to like break those things down in my head where I'm like, okay, I can see that I just need to do this pattern with my hand. And I don't know, it's just cool. Like you would think I would be super rusty at this, but I kind of just picked it back up, and I'm actually better at it.
You've developed more skill besides just, I only play Guitar Hero in Rock Band. Like, now you've actually played more, so you can utilize those skills you've learned.
That's the fun thing about rhythm games, is everything you learn from each game carries on to the next one. And that's like why, like Chris, the DDR champion.
He is a killer on that game.
He just goes to any game, any rhythm game, and he picks it up so quickly. And the more he learns, the better he gets at all the other ones.
I mean, you could call that guy a Renaissance man. He does everything well.
He actually just competed in his first Guitar Hero tournament a couple days ago.
Of course he did.
It was like it was a custom song. I don't know the logistics of it. I just know that he tweeted he was competing, and I went and watched it.
And how did he compete? How was it?
He did good. He didn't win. He didn't win his match that I saw. It went down to a tiebreaker, so it was best of 7.
That's still pretty good. Tiebreaker.
It was good. I mean, he compared to the people that he was playing against.
Yeah.
I mean, he just hopped into this like maybe 2 months ago, and he's already up to the level where
this was just practice for him. I mean,
it kind of was, and he almost won his set against someone who was really, really good. So
he's really all that in a bag of chips. I mean, he's a great guy.
He did say that he was a bit nervous because of the pressure. Like, he's a Guitar Hero legend. Like, first guy to 100% through the Fire and Flames. He's in the Guinness Book of World Records for it. And so when people saw that he was coming back, he just had that pressure of like, I'm Mr. Guitar Hero, like, and I'm back. And he just felt like he had to win, but it was very, very close.
What a guy.
I know.
I mean, whether he won or not, I still think it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So that's what I've been up to.
Sweet.
I guess let's just dive into this.
Yeah. What console do you want to talk about first?
Well, luckily most of these games, well, I'm not going to say most of them, but
we're cross console.
Yeah, we're like cross gen. Honestly, we just got to say PlayStation 1 big time.
PlayStation 4 wins it because we both love that console. And I'm sorry, the Xbox One. Yeah.
It just didn't have any exclusives. Nothing that was good.
The Sony of this generation has killed it with the exclusives. We have said this already, but they killed it with the exclusives.
I'm looking at this list, and like the first fourth of it is PlayStation
Sony exclusives.
And
I mean, the first one that popped into my head is Bloodborne, which is a fantastic exclusive for the PlayStation, and a lot of people, me included, bought PlayStations just for that game.
Yeah, and a lot of people are upset that it's not on anything else.
Yes, I would love to have it on the PC. I don't play my PlayStation that often anymore, but if I had it on the PC, I'd be playing that game still.
I can't believe it hasn't gone to PC with how popular it is. I don't know. It's
what you call a bargaining chip.
I got halfway through that game. I really enjoyed it. I don't really have a good reason as to why I stopped. I think I got to a point where I was able to go like 3 different directions, and I just didn't know which way I was supposed to go to not struggle the most. And I really didn't want to look up a guide. Like, I really just wanted to do this without any help. And it just got to one of those points where I couldn't play for a week, and I never went back.
It is such an awesome game. We'll talk more about it when we get to it. But let's see some other games.
Yeah, so I'll list them off that were really prolific for the PlayStation 4 this year.
Go for it.
So Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh yeah.
God of War.
Mm-hmm.
Bloodborne, like we said.
Of course.
Death Stranding.
Death Stranding. Yeah. Damn.
Let's see here. What else is here? Kingdom. Oh no, actually, Kingdom Hearts 3 didn't just come to PlayStation. Kingdom Hearts was always a PlayStation exclusive. Yeah. But this was the first time that it was cross-gen and came out on Xbox.
They did put it on Xbox too. I guess they wanted that extra money. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we had. Oh, the 2 Dooms. We had Doom 2018 and Doom Eternal.
Yeah, those were cross-gen as well, luckily.
And those are amazing. If we're talking about Sony still, let's see. What else do we got?
Metal Gear Solid 5. Oh. Or no, that wasn't. Man, I keep forgetting some of these games are cross-gen now.
I'm because that game was so good. I love Metal Gear Solid 5.
Some people think that's like one of the best games of this generation.
It's a really good game. It's really good.
I don't know why I never played it.
As someone who was kind of hot and cold with the Metal Gear series, because some of the games were... I've never been a big fan of like the kind of anime-ness of the games. And I'm talking about the characters with like the superpowers and the floating, white hair and everything. Like,
it's a little supernaturally weird.
It's an integral part of the game. Like, those make sense in the story of the game in their own way. But I've always been a fan of like the sneaking, spying, climbing through vents, doing little puzzles and finding items and taking pictures and tricking the guards into doing stupid shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's my favorite part about Metal Gear Solid. And Metal Gear Solid 5 captured that beautifully.
I heard the gameplay is just like phenomenal in that.
It is phenomenal.
Even though the story kind of didn't...
There's a story behind the story being not so great, and that's because of Konami and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of that, Metal Gear Solid 5 is really good. The soundtrack is killer.
Dude, the soundtrack is so good in that game.
The soundtrack is so good.
And it's just like an MP3 player, right? You can just play the songs wherever
you
find it.
You find cassette tapes and you play them into the game, and it's awesome and
genius.
Like the theme for the game, the theme, I say that loosely, but the first song you hear in the game is "The Man Who Sold the World" by Midyear, and it's a really good version of the song. It's a great version which was relatively unknown.
Mm-hmm.
They originally, apparently, so I heard, they originally wanted to use Diamond Dogs because the game has the Diamond Dog like group in the game.
Oh, okay.
And there's David Bowie's Diamond Dog song, and they wanted to use that. But so from what I heard, the developers didn't like that song very much. They didn't end up using it. But that would have been awesome too. It's kind of too bad they didn't do that one. Man,
Kojima is so creative. I love what he does with music and games. I think he's just... Because he's not just video games. Yeah. He loves movies. He loves film. He's like a cinephile.
And I think it's Metal Gear Solid 3 where he really shows that. I'm pretty sure it's Metal Gear Solid 3. My memory might be failing me here, but where he did a take on James Bond.
Oh, really?
So the introduction to every Metal Gear Solid game has like a very, very artistic introduction.
Yes.
Like the theme, basically, like the orchestral theme, whatever you want to call it. And in Metal Gear Solid 3, he did like a James Bond like type thing, like a very 60s James Bond. It was fantastic.
I really want to go back and play the Metal Gear games. I know, God, some of them look so janky. So maybe if they make one of those like greatest hits and include them all, if Konami
Metal Gear Solid All Stars,
Metal Gear Solid 3D All Stars.
I'd be down for that. You have my vote for that because honestly, I would love to play through those games again. It's been a while.
Yeah. Okay, back on topic.
Yes. Anyway, what else do we got?
So for like PlayStation exclusives, we also got like Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, of course, yeah.
Spider-Man was awesome. Ghost of Tsushima.
Yes.
Final Fantasy VII Remake.
That was exclusive. Yeah,
that was exclusive. Timed exclusive, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just so much more. So I mean, that's just scratching the surface of what PlayStation had. I think Xbox had like, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't write any Xbox games on here.
Xbox mostly benefited from the cross-platforming. Sorry, okay, so like basically there's no exclusive games except Halo, Gears of War.
Yeah, there was Gears 5.
The Gears of War titles, yeah, they were good. I played through the latest Gears game. I liked it. It wasn't bad, but I don't really feel like I want to play it again.
Off the top of my head, I'm thinking for Xbox, there's like the Forza games.
Yep.
Like Forza Horizon.
Yep.
They got Crackdown 3, which was an ultimate disappointment.
Crackdown 2 and 3 don't exist. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about.
We pretend that didn't happen.
Crackdown 1 was a holy experience, and then you have Crackdown 2, which is like, oh, we're gonna add zombies. It's like, no, this doesn't exist.
But what else is there? That pirate game. Sea of Thieves.
Sea of Thieves, yeah.
Apparently people really like that.
That was a major flop on release, and they have updated it to be more playable.
Yes, it seems like just a fun hangout game.
It's a hangout game. So the problem, it still exists in the game that there's just not really much to do.
Yeah.
Like once I've read some various reviews on it. I never had an Xbox, so I've never played it, but is that a lot of the time people would you kind of get to a certain point in the game, you're like, what else do I do? What am I trying to unlock here?
Yeah.
A new outfit?
I think the best thing that I've seen come out of Microsoft is Ori and the Blind Forest, and then recently Ori and the Will of the Wisp.
Oh, I've heard some killer things about that type series. I really want to give it a try.
I played first Ori, but I still have yet to do the second one because I got Xbox Game Pass on my PC, like literally just to play the second one. But unfortunately, the second Ori had some bugs. They had some kind of release issue on PC where it was super buggy and the frames were dropping and all that kind of stuff.
That tends to be the case for a lot of games on PC from the consoles.
I thought it was just my PC, so I just got rid of Game Pass because I was just so upset. I'm like, why am I trying to play these games on my PC, which can definitely play these games, and they're just not working? So I guess I need to go back and try it again because apparently they fixed it and it's an amazing game.
Ori, I've heard nothing but good things, and a really good friend of mine is trying to get me to play it, and I really want to try it.
You should.
It looks great.
It's one of the most beautiful games I played, and the story is really good, even though there's like no dialogue. It's one of those just like visual storytelling kind of situations where they're all just creatures with their own languages. They're just making noises basically, but they're talking.
I dig that. Yeah.
And then Cuphead.
Cuphead, of course. Yeah.
So that was a good one. You played that one, right?
I did play Cuphead. I played quite a lot of it. I had it for the PC.
Okay.
But I enjoyed it a lot. I did enjoy it a lot. It was a very good game. It deserves all the praise it gets. I'd say mostly it deserves the praise visually. Mm-hmm. Personally, I think the gameplay got a little stale after a while, but that's just because I think the game is more of a boss fighter than a level. Like the mechanics are good for boss fights, but the levels in between kind of were long and draggy.
So it was like a platforming game, right?
It is an action platformer, yes. So it's basic, very very classic style action platformer. You jump on the platforms, avoid the traps, and avoid all the multitude of monsters that attack you while you're doing it. But the game mostly focuses on the boss fights.
That's right, and it had the special thing about Cuphead is it has that style, right?
The style is the 1930s. What do you call it? Like bendy arm. Something like that.
Like the Mickey Mouse classic.
It's the 1930s art cartoon style, like the Fleischer Studio style,
where everyone's bouncing up and down,
like very Betty Boop early style. And it has the music to go along with it. The music is amazing. Very, 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 very well done music.
And that means a lot coming from you.
I'm a huge bitch for music, and the music in this game suited me quite well. It does stop suiting you a little bit after you've retried a boss about 20 times, but it's still fun.
I was gonna say, it has one of the coolest art styles that I've seen in a game so far.
It's very unique. It's a very old-fashioned style. People are very, very, very familiar with it because they see it when they're kids in old cartoons.
Mm.
And now it's in a video game, and it's a very good game, and it worked very well. It translated exceptionally well. Very good.
Yeah, so it's on Xbox, PC. It came to Switch.
Yes, it did.
And I don't know if it came to PlayStation. I
believe it was on PlayStation. Yeah. I think it went to all the consoles.
Yeah, Xbox is good about sharing.
Because I bought it on Steam, so if it's on Steam, it had to have been on pretty much any other console.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Because if it was PC, it would be on to like a specific one of those things. Yeah.
It's an excellent game though. Very, very deserving.
So that's Xbox. I mean, they had some cool, interesting things. I think they have a much brighter future now.
I do agree.
We can look forward to all the studios that they now possess, including
Bethesda. And I'm really, really excited for the fact they possess Lionhead. They killed it with Fable 3, but I have a lot of hope for the next Fable.
I'm so excited for Fable.
Some people like Fable 3. I'm sorry if you do. I don't. I didn't. I was a huge fan of Fable 1. I was a huge fan of Fable 2. I followed both the developments very, very closely. Both games kind of disappointed me a little bit, but I was a kid, so I loved the games regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Fable 3 killed it.
Yeah, I played it. I enjoyed it, but I never went back.
So they've teased a new Fable, so I'm very excited. Microsoft owns some great companies and some great IPs, and I really hope they do right.
Yeah, the people who are going to be making the new Fable are actually, I think it's Playground Studios, and they're the ones who make the Forza Horizon, the open world racing games.
Yeah, I remember you mentioned that before, yeah.
And they have some of the most visually beautiful environments in all gaming. Like, whenever Xbox is revealing a new console, like between I think it was the Xbox One and the Xbox One X.
Okay.
I think the first thing they showed off was the new Forza Horizon.
Forza is their flagship, look at us title.
Yeah, because with all racing, it's almost always a racing game because it's like, look how realistic this looks, look how fast it is and shiny.
It's the thing with Microsoft, they have yet to really get any great storytelling games, and so Forza is kind of their, well, we could look really nice though.
Yeah, we just
even Gears and Halo are kind of look at us, we're still really pretty.
Mm-hmm.
So Sony kind of beats them still in the fact that they have a lot of storytelling games.
Amazing storytelling, and I think a huge part of that is because, one, it's a Japanese-based, Sony's a Japanese company.
But they also have Naughty Dog.
They do.
And Naughty Dog is, as far as, that's not a Japanese company, that's an American company, and it is an excellent company.
They're like the number one storytellers in video games.
As far as that goes, yeah.
I would say Naughty Dog and probably Santa Monica Studios, the ones who made God of War.
Mm-hmm.
That is like one of the, not many games I play scream 10 out of 10 to me.
But God of War did.
But playing through God of War was like, you can't make this game better.
Boy!
Exactly, boy! It is so good, and man, you need to play that.
I do need to play that.
You really just need to get to
play
it.
that. Didn't you get it digitally?
Yes.
Dude, I would be playing it right now if you had gotten the hard copy.
I'm sorry, it was like one of those nights where I'm like, I gotta play this.
I want a new game.
It was on sale or something, and I just had to buy it, and it was digital. And man, one of the best investments I made.
Ben can go pound sand. Yeah. Well, let's see what.
Switch. Let's do Switch now.
Okay. Let's see. First thing that pops up on Switch is, of course, Mario Odyssey.
Mario Odyssey.
That was one of the hottest games. We're not going to mention Animal Crossing yet, but that was a hot game. That was really good.
I was skeptical at first. For some reason, with Nintendo games, they look like a lot of fun.
Yep.
But I'm always scared that they're gonna do. Nintendo likes to experiment.
Yes,
and when I saw how much experimentation was going on in Odyssey, I was like...
When I saw the hat thing...
Yeah, so the thing about this game is you can throw your hat and... Basically possess certain creatures or things in the game. And at first I was like, oh, this is going to be one of those either useless mechanics or it's going to be annoying to where I have to use this. They're going to force it. But that game was so beautifully crafted to just use it perfectly. I was astounded by how much I enjoyed that game.
Yeah.
It was just a beautiful, beautiful game. Visually, the music was a lot of fun in it.
The music was excellent.
The worlds were just different.
I loved the urban world, like the cityscape world.
Yes, it was called New Donk City, I think.
New Donk, yeah, okay. The music was great there. I loved it. I loved all the little details in the city. You could go in see the movies and It was a great city.
Yeah, Nintendo knocked it out of the park with that one.
Let's see, what else did they have on Switch? Luigi's Mansion 3, right?
Yeah. You played that one.
Yes,
you?
I did. Excellent game. I'm a huge fan of Luigi's Mansion 1. When I was a kid, I played a lot of Luigi's Mansion 1. I think I'd mentioned that already on a previous podcast. I loved that series, and I never tried Luigi's Mansion 2, mostly because it was not accessible to me on the console.
It was on the DS or something,
right?
It was
on the
3DS?
DS, which I did not have. Again, my last handheld console was a Game Boy Advance.
Yeah, you'd definitely be missing out.
Yeah, so Luigi's Mansion 3 finally came into the scene, and it was great. It was really good. I thought I would hate the Gooigi. I kind of don't like it still, but I enjoyed the game.
So how did the Gooigi work? Wasn't he just like a mechanic of the game?
He was basically a mechanic of the game. He kind of had a little characterization to him too, a little bit, because Nintendo can't help themselves, but he was basically a mechanic. You would see a spot like, oh, there's a grate I can't get through, there's a fence, or oh, there's an object behind this wall, and I need to find some way to get over there. You bring Gooigi out, wiggle on over there, slush on over there, you get the item.
So he was basically a puzzle-solving tool.
He was used in puzzles, basically, yes.
Did you play the single player or co-op?
I played a little bit of single player, and I didn't try the co-op, actually, no.
Okay, I think with the co-op, the other person plays like Gooigi.
They play Gooigi, they control Gooigi.
At a certain point, so that's definitely a great game if you, if you're like either two casual players, or if you're, a situation where one of you may be a gamer and you want to introduce a game to one of your friends or a significant other that wants to play along. It's like the perfect game for that. Yeah. Because they can basically watch you play and be interactive with it. And then anytime there's one of those puzzle scenes, they take control of Gooigi and they get to help out.
It's basically like the original Sonic games on the Sega, where one of your players plays as Tails and he just falls off the screen constantly. He basically does nothing. So
but it's a great way to integrate.
It is.
Actually, Mario Odyssey did that too. Where
they did the hat.
You could play the whole game co-op and your partner could play the hat.
I did actually do co-op on that game. That was fun. That was actually really fun.
It's one of those fun, challenging things where it's like, it's definitely easier to play the game by yourself, but it makes kind of like a goofy bonding moment when your friend or significant other's controlling the hat. And you have to work together, and it can either be frustrating or a lot of fun.
Yeah. It led to a lot of people being murdered and a lot of people getting together, It was Mario Odyssey. It was a great mechanic, I think. The co-op worked really well in that game. Luigi's Mansion 3, yes and no. There was nothing wrong with it.
It was there, and I'm glad they included it.
I appreciate it, yeah.
Okay. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild, duh, yeah.
Did you play through that fully?
I did not finish it completely, but I played through like 90% of it.
You did?
I did.
It is a lot of people's favorite game of all time.
For good reason.
Is it that good?
It's an excellent game. I mean, there's nothing really bad to say about it, because it takes everything you wanted in a Legend of Zelda game. It takes all the things that were great in the previous titles, and then gives it to you.
And it's a huge open world. Is this the first, like, quote-unquote open world Legend of Zelda game?
Yes. Technically, yes. Every Legend of Zelda game has had an open world concept to it.
They have, like, an overworld.
Yeah. I mean, let's say for Ocarina of Time, you had the big open plains with the Hyrule City, Hyrule Castle, and then you could go to the little village in the mountains. You could go back to the little Kokiro village.
Mm-hmm.
It's open world, yes, but not completely. It's kind of like how Star Ocean was an open world, but not completely. You went to different areas.
Yeah.
Same thing. Wind Waker was a little more open world.
That's true.
You could just keep going. That was like the seven mighty seas. You just kept on floating and floating. It was awesome.
I was gonna say maybe I should take it back, because when I'm thinking about Wind Waker, you can literally just go anywhere. You literally hop on your boat and just sail.
But it's still not completely open world.
Because you have to unlock those areas, right?
So
Breath of the Wild, you can literally go straight to the boss, right?
You can literally go strut straight up to the castle. You can go sashaying inside there and just be like, "Yo, Ganon."
Just get wrecked, probably.
Basically, yes, but you can beat him. It is possible. The game has zero limits.
That's really cool.
And it's excellent. As far as, I think Twilight Princess also had some good open world concepts too. I never played a lot of that game, so I can't say for sure, but Breath of the Wild just opened the jar and threw everything on the ground. You could do whatever you wanted with it.
You could, because it had a stamina system where you could climb anything in the game.
It basically took Shadow of the Colossus's climbing system, stamina and all, and threw it in that game, and it worked excellent. It was an excellent mechanic. It was great.
And it's so... It made such an impact. It's funny I say impact, but because one of the big games that copied that mechanic is Genshin Impact, which is a super popular free game that we talked about in the previous episode. And I can't believe it's taken this long for people to copy this. Like, I think the game's been out for like 2 or 3 years now.
It was one of the flagship titles for the
It was
Switch.
like the launch, yeah. So it's got to be 3 years old then.
Just about.
They are making a second one.
I'm extremely excited for that.
So I need to, man, it's one of those, have you ever had a game, I mean, I guess God of War for you would be your example, where it's an obvious 10 out of 10, and there's no reason you haven't played it yet, except maybe there's like the anxiety of knowing that it's like a 10 out of 10 game.
It's too good. I'm too scared.
That's the thing for me. I'm almost afraid that I'm not gonna like it. That's been the thing for me, because one thing that people are saying about Breath of the Wild that doesn't resonate with me is the fact that the weapons freaking break constantly.
So yeah, I said there wasn't really anything bad to say about the game. I'll take that back. The weapon system is probably the weak point of the game.
And I get that that's just a part of the game, is that you're constantly having to find new weapons and think about your equipment and how you want to use it.
It's a part of the game that gets old quick. It does.
I just, everyone loves finding that shiny new weapon that's like, yes, like I have the awesome new weapon I can use now and just wreck things. But in this game, it just breaks.
So in this game, you have that exact moment. Oh, wow, this is an awesome weapon. Look how cool it is. Look how much damage it does. And then you'll be using it like, oh yeah, I love it. And then it breaks in your hand. Like, literally, your dreams crumble to sand and fall between your fingers. It's sad.
That's what I've heard, is like, you find all these great weapons and you never want to use them.
Yep.
Because you're afraid that there's going to be some boss battle where you might need it for.
Yep. And there is. And it's the weak point of the game. They had the reasons for doing it. They wanted to keep the game challenging and on your toes.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a mistake, honestly. The weapons in the game are really cool. They're really fun to use, but they break, and it basically gets you out of the groove.
I would say if they continue with this in the second one and maybe just increase the duration of how long the weapons last.
Or just add a repair system.
That would be nice.
The weapons break if you don't repair them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it still happens, but like it would just be nice to be able to keep the weapons that you really like.
I'm surprised that there wasn't a repair system, because that's something that's been in RPGs for a long time.
Yeah.
Is being able to just repair the weapon. Even like World of Warcraft had that, where if you let it break, it's going to be really expensive to fix.
Every time you died, it took down your weapon's durability, and soon your entire armor and weapon was broken. You're like, well, great, now I'm dead and I need to go back to town.
You lose all the money that you just made from the dungeon repairing all your armor. Yeah, I hope they fix that. I'm still going to go and play it.
You do need to try it. And I've got it. I've got a copy if you ever want to borrow it.
Oh, you got the physical copy?
I do. I only buy physical copies.
Oh, man, I know. I'm really tempted with this new generation to go all digital, so it's super easy. No. But at the same time, I'm like, I can't share them. Like, I can't.
There's nothing like having game cases taking up space. Like, it's so nice.
It is. If I had a great display shelf or something like that, I would do it more. I think it's just the fact that I don't have that right now, so I have no desire. But I guess I need to think in the future where someday I'll have my own place where I can put up a nice display of all my video game stuff and have all my favorite games there.
You can be one of those guys, oh, I 3D printed a sick ass shelf system for my Nintendo games and my Sony games and my Xbox. You can be one of those guys
on Reddit who get like 80,000 karma.
Yeah, oh, look what I 3D printed. Look, whoa, guys, and everyone's like, whoa, it's amazing. Free karma.
What else is Switch? Animal Crossing, obviously.
Of course, Animal Crossing. There's a lot of other Switch titles, but I think Animal Crossing does kind of take the cake.
Yeah, I think
we've talked about it before. It came out at the right time. It was almost too perfect, and it's a great game. It's a very good game. I played a lot of it. I liked it. I have Eric, who we interviewed in a previous podcast, still plays it and still loves it, and basically worships the game that Ground walks on.
Oh my gosh, I almost forgot. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Mm-hmm,
Duh. Mm-hmm. I mean, that game's still, like, they're just updating it constantly with the new fighters.
It's the Smash, it's the Smash standard right now. It's a great game.
I've enjoyed a lot of that. And
I still want Blinks on it.
We need Blinks. We need, who else was it?
Spyro or Sora.
Sora would be good, man.
Yeah.
God, I can't believe they haven't done that.
And you can do, like, special attacks with, like, Donald, and he's like, Goofy, where he's like, oh, Sora! Gosh!
That would be such a fun, but with Disney, that just sounds like a nightmare.
It sounds like a nightmare, but Sora's, maybe Disney half owns Sora? I don't know how that works.
Yeah, because Sora's like the non-Disney part. He's like the Final Fantasy anime part.
But he would be cool in Ultimate, and Ultimate's a great game. It's a great, my biggest Smash Bros. Game is the N64 version, but mostly the Melee version. I was a big fan of the GameCube version.
Anytime we play Melee or 64, you just wreck everyone on that. Like Ultimate, we're all pretty much about the same level, and then 64 or Melee, you just like destroy.
Well, my Donkey Kong and
God, you freaking Donkey Kong. Like anyone who plays Donkey Kong, I'm sorry, I don't have respect for you because it's just like it's like the biggest troll pick apart from maybe like Kirby.
Oh my God, who Eric got?
Eric, yeah, you and Eric just play like the trolliest champions or fighters, I should say.
So Ultimate's great, and I'm glad I'm excited. I'm very excited to see who they'll add next on it. What else is on Switch?
Well, Pokemon games, obviously, all the Pokemon games.
We don't have any experience with those yet, though.
Switch is kind of my blind spot because even though I own one, like I mentioned earlier, I let my girlfriend borrow it.
She still has it.
And she still has it since April.
She's basically like, it's her child now. It's basically has a name. It's now part of the family.
It has its own bed. It has a crib.
Yep.
There's the new Mario, Paper Mario, Origami King. I really want to play that.
I want to get that. Totally, yeah.
I might end up getting that one. Maybe I can just let you borrow it when I'm done with it.
I would be very happy with that.
Or we can just like make Eric buy it and then we can mooch it off him.
I'm actually in the works of that. I have like a little recording under his pillow at night.
It's like, hey Eric, what do you want for Christmas? You really want Origami King, right?
I mean, well, just like how I got the Legend of Zelda game for him for Christmas. Like I ended up playing more of it than he did.
Oh yeah, Link's Awakening.
Yep,
that's another Zelda game that came out on Switch.
That was a very good game. I wouldn't say it's topping any lists, but it was a very good game. It was a very good remake. It was excellent. I loved it. I enjoyed the hell out of it.
Yeah, it looks beautiful. I mean, there's no disputing how good it looks.
It really does. It has the Nintendo touch all through.
All right, so that's all the exclusives, I think. Let's look at the broad list here, the things that just came out, third party.
Let's just go through everything, yeah.
Okay, one we have to talk about.
I think I know.
Witcher 3.
Yep.
I mean, you can't dispute. It might be one of the greatest games
that
of the
game
generation.
has been. It's kind of like the Rockstar game sort of thing, where it just will not die.
It doesn't die.
People still are enjoying the hell out of it, and now that the series came out, they are loving it again.
Yes, man, that Netflix series. Did you like it?
I've had mixed views on it. I gotta say, it was more like, it wasn't like Witcher. It was more like Yennefer's adventures.
It was Yennefer's adventures.
I mean, I enjoyed it. I think it was a great interpretation of the books, not really the game, because it focused more on the books.
Yep.
But it was more like Yennefer's adventure than anything. Like Geralt like played a side character to Yennefer.
I agree with that, but I'm also glad that the show just didn't like, hey, let's focus on Henry Cavill as sexy Witcher man, and let's just fully focus on him and make it a fan.
Let's just fully focus on sexy Yennefer.
Okay, well,
yeah,
you're not wrong, I guess, but I'm glad that they made her
sexy.
Well, that too, but no, I enjoyed it a lot. I see what you mean.
Mm-hmm.
I really did want more like Witcher content, more Geralt. But Geralt, I mean,
I just kind of wanted more MOTW, Monster of the Week stuff. I wanted a little more Witcher being Witcher,
and not just like storylines.
I mean, they were following the books, but there was still more in the books that they could have done with him slaying monsters and pursuing monsters, and I feel like they just didn't really explore that.
Yeah,
and the show kind of focused more on this convoluted storyline, which again, the books, it's not convoluted if you get it, but a lot of people were confused by it.
That is true.
For good reason, frankly. I mean, people can insult the people who are confused all they want, but they're confused for a reason.
Yeah, you almost don't even know what's going on until you get to the end of the series and you're like, oh, it was time skipping. Like it was Yennefer's story is like so far in the past, and then Geralt is current, and then it was a confusing mess.
But the game, on the other hand, is not a confusing mess. I mean,
it might be a little bit.
It's better if you have played the previous titles. I've played Witcher 1, I played Witcher 2.
Nice.
I was a big Witcher fan. Witcher 3 was just as great, and it helped a lot to have played those games. Mm-hmm. But it's a fantastic game to get into.
I gotta ask, did you beat it?
I did not beat Witcher 3 yet.
It is because it has so much content. It is so long.
So Witcher 3 introduces a game mechanic nowadays that I was not a big fan of. And this is something that the Assassin's Creed series also took. Mm-hmm. And that is the big ass map.
Yep.
Never a bad thing per se, but it's the question marks on the map. You go to each and every question mark, and it's like, oh, okay, it's another chest, it's another note, it's another body, it's another monster den. Mm-hmm. I just got bored. I got bored of it. I love Witcher, but Witcher 3 with its question marks, and they're just everywhere.
It's too much. It's like...
It bored me.
You get to a new area, and this is something that a lot of gamers have issues with, actually, is you open up the map, and it shows you all the new objectives, and it's like, holy crap, there is like 500 question marks on my map that I need to discover, and your quest log just gets filled with like 50 side quests. You got like 25 monster dens to discover. There's like 50 other things to discover, and you're almost scared to go to new areas because it's just going to unlock even more stuff. So you're stuck in the same town for like what feels like 20 hours.
So in the first place, you can easily spend 20 hours there, and that's easily. That's
the thing is, I never got past the first place.
It's kind of our own fault, I'll say, because we're choosing to pay attention to those things.
You don't have to do it.
You don't have to, but the problem is you, as a completionist, as someone who likes to see everything, you kind of have to go to all the question marks. And for a game that's so deep, I feel like Witcher 3, it was the worst part about the game with the question marks. It was
just too much content, which is a weird thing to say because technically if you're paying $60 for a game, now $70 with the current generation, you want almost endless content where you could play the game forever. But the problem is,
you get plenty of it,
The problem is that there's so many games nowadays, by focusing on just this one game, you're missing out on everything else. And that's exactly what happened to me. Is I was playing this game, I got maybe 15 hours in, and then something else popped up, and then I went back in the game. I'm like, what was I doing? How do I play this game? Because not only is my quest log filled with like 500 things, I also don't remember how to do any of the things because there's like your attacks and there's your different kind of spells, and then the menus are confusing. There's like a million menus things. It's just a lot to hop back into.
It's a heavy game. It's a very deep game, but the question marks didn't really have any depth to them. Like some of them would have notes that were kind of cool little Easter eggs, stuff to find. But again, it kind of killed it for me. The inside of me, I didn't really like it. And Assassin's Creed kind of followed that. And that was the problem with me in Assassin's Creed Origins and Odyssey.
Yes, I did really enjoy Assassin's Creed Origins. That was the one that was based in Egypt.
Yes.
And dude, that map...
Beautiful game.
That map is so big. I mean, you zoom out and there's like different sections of Egypt. I'm like, how? This is so huge.
And that alone is really cool because Egypt... One of the things about Egypt is the vast deserts.
Yeah.
And they captured it very well. It's the ancient world, and they captured it very close to scale.
There is like... I mean, the sections on the map are just huge. And there's literally sections which is just open desert. Yep. I mean...
As it should be.
Huge definitely. Areas, yeah. It's just... open deserts with like maybe an oasis or like the classic oasis where
it's a mirage.
You see the mirage, you see the like the beautiful women with like getting water.
You go running up and going to like your mouth thirsty, your tongue wagging, and then suddenly you get up there, it's gone. It's just like a dusty old rock.
That game was really cool. I almost got the platinum on it. I almost 100% it.
Yeah, you got really close. I remember that.
I did. I put like maybe 80 hours in that game, and then I didn't finish it because all I had left were like those stupid little collection things where it was like, collect all 1 million feathers. I'm like, I just don't have the patience to go running around this map and collecting these things.
It's kind of the same thing as the question marks, like in a way where you're just like, I don't really care, but I feel like I should, but I don't, and now I don't really want to play anymore.
The difference is Witcher's side quests, they're almost all good. They all have really good stories, and that's why you want to go do them.
Yeah, which is why I say like the game is so deep. Everything in the game is deep, but then you have these question marks which are just pointless.
Yeah. But Origins, I felt like the side quests, Assassin's Creed Origins, I mean, you watched me play a lot of that game.
I did.
They were just like, oh no, my horse is running away. Can you go grab my horse? Or like, oh no,
my baby was eaten by a crocodile. Will you go kill crocodiles until you find my daughter's leg?
Exactly. It's just like these fetch quests, and I'm like...
They're kind of World of Warcrafty almost.
It was kind of World of Warcraft style. Odyssey is apparently better. I haven't played Odyssey. After I played Hades, I've wanted to go back and play Odyssey now because I'm like, I'm in the Greek mythology zone.
Yep.
And apparently, Odyssey does this thing where it's Assassin's Creed. It's based in Greece, and it's realistic. But then apparently, it starts incorporating mythology stuff into it,
as Origins did.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, Origins did do some of that stuff. Oh man, there was like that giant spooky snake thing or something.
Yep. Remember, the Assassin's Creed series has the alien aspect as well.
That is true. Assassin's Creed is...
I'm not going to spoil it here, but let's just say the Pope isn't who he seems to be.
The Assassin's Creed franchise itself has changed so much. It went from like stealth missions to just like, hey, here's a big ass open world.
To just goofball. Like, I mean, I love this series, but like the first game is nothing like the games that follow it.
No. But I think it works out for him. I think it was a good thing. A lot of people are mad that like go back to original.
Well, I
Creed.
can appreciate it.
I get it
because with the new with the new Origins and Odyssey, great games, but they're Witcher clones.
Yeah, I mean
they are complete Witcher 3 clones through and through.
Yeah, but it works out. I mean, the nice thing is that Assassin's Creed does like to go through historical moments in time.
And they do it very well.
So the next one that's coming out is Valhalla. Which you're going to be playing the Vikings. And
you can go to the snowy wastes all the way down to sunny England.
Yeah, you go to England and stuff like that.
It looks really cool.
I'm hesitant because I'm almost burnt out on Viking culture and just all the Norse mythology.
I am hella burned out on Viking culture. I'm kind of done with it. After Skyrim, after 10 years of Skyrim almost, I'm kind of done.
God of War,
yeah,
all the TV shows. But like, I saw a tweet today about Valhalla, and it's like, oh yeah, you can ride a big ass wolf. I'm like, I want to ride the wolf.
I saw that tweet, and I was like, of course, Garrett, of course that would get you.
It looks so cool. I want to ride a giant wolf, and of course, people are like, oh, great. I thought this was going to be historically correct. I hope this is one of those vision quests or something.
Did you not play any of the Assassin's Creed games? Like, again, the Pope is not even human. I'm sorry. Like, what the hell?
And that's what people were saying in the comments.
This is Assassin's Creed.
They're like, you didn't play Odyssey, did you? And they're like, actually, I did. But that's what I didn't like about it.
Actually, I did. Yeah, no.
Okay, what else we got here?
Let's see. Oh, how about Resident Evil 2, the remake?
Oh yeah, that was really good.
That was killer, dude. That was awesome. I loved that.
We played that one together.
Yeah, we played through that in one night. Like we just sat there and like binged on tequila or I don't know what the hell it was, a bunch of drinks, and just played through that game.
We played on the hard difficulty
we
too.
did.
God, I don't know. That was torture,
so fun.
Dude. I almost want to go back and play one of those games on easy mode just to like quote unquote have fun with
I've got it for the N64. You can play the original. It's just as good. And you also don't have Mr. like Game and Stomp following you around.
Dude, that was so stressful.
Dude, okay, I played the original RE2 a lot. I played the games a lot. And so when I encountered that, I was like, what the fuck? What's going on? Holy shit, he's still following me. Like,
so halfway through Resident Evil 2, I mean, it's like kind of spoilery, but it's been out for a while, so we're just going to talk about it. What's his name again?
Mr. X.
Mr. X. Yeah, you get this guy who just starts existing.
Andre the Giant, basically, in a trench coat, a fedora with the mask of death, he throws a helicopter out of the way and starts stomping after you, and never stops.
He is there always, and you have to worry about him coming out of nowhere. Like you've got other stuff you're trying to do, and this dude just like looking for you, hunting you down the whole time, as if the game was scary enough.
He picks you up and breaks you like a doll.
He is, God, it's so scary.
So I mean, again, I played the games multiple times, and that was a huge shock for me. Like that, Mr. X has always been a Resident Evil thing, but not like that.
And then there's Resident Evil 3.
Yep.
We didn't play that one.
I didn't play Nemesis. I haven't played the remake of Nemesis yet. I played the original, but not the remake.
I heard that it is good, but the story is so short that it didn't feel like it was worth the money. It was like a 6-hour game.
It's got some mixed reviews, which has kind of made me not want to buy it because I have really, really nice old memories of Resident Evil Nemesis, and I don't really want to sully them.
I mean, it's good, apparently. It's just maybe getting on sale when it's like $30 or something like that.
Good point, yeah. Probably.
So yeah, those games were fun. I think it was great that they're doing that. Resident Evil is really on a kick right now.
Capcom is doing really good with them. They're bringing them back and remaking them, and I cannot wait for Resident Evil 4.
They're doing this awesome back and forth thing where they do a remake of an old game and then they do a new game.
And the new game they're making, when they first showed that video, I was like, this is RE4? Oh my god, they're remaking RE4. It's not.
No, it's Resident Evil 8, right?
It's a new Resident Evil altogether.
Resident Evil
Village. Hope to God it's not like Resident Evil 6, but like, I'm excited. It looks so good.
Yeah, that is something that I'm very excited for.
It looks awesome. I'm really stoked for it.
And I'm not a huge horror game fan, mainly because like when I'm playing a game, I'm trying not to be stressed out. Like
I love it.
Real life is stressed. It's scary enough.
I love horror in games. I love emotions.
I gotta get past that because some of my favorite games ended up being scary games, like Dead Space.
Yeah.
I was terrified of that game, but it was such a cool game.
Solid series. I loved that series.
Speaking of scary games, you recently watched a playthrough of one, right?
I watched the entire playthrough of Alien Isolation.
Yes.
I was watching because I was like, oh, maybe I should get this game. You know, it's been a while now. I should probably play through it. And then I watched the playthrough and I was like, holy crap! I don't know if I have the time to do this. Mm-hmm. It is an amazing game.
Yeah, a lot of people I listen to a lot of video game podcasts and stuff like that, and Alien Isolation always comes up as one of those. They're like, that was a really good game, and so tell me a little bit about that game.
It is okay. It's kind of like Dead Space in the sense where you encounter this big space station. I forget the name of it, but you encounter it. The radio is a little staticky. You hear some feedback from the station saying don't go out, and of course
danger,
and of course so the main character is the original alien Ripley. It's her daughter, I believe.
Oh, okay.
So you're playing as the original Ripley's daughter, and so she's like, well, I'll go on the station, and then you get this other chick who goes on the station with you, and this guy who I believe is an android. And so you all go on the station, you're all like strutting across there, and then suddenly you're blown onto the station basically. Something happens that throws you on the station, you cannot get back now.
Oh.
So now cue Dead Space kind of thing where you're like, well, what am I? I'm alone now. Oh no, everyone else is gone. And you're trying to find out what happened here.
That sounds scary.
It's
a survival game, right?
It is a survival game, but it's not survival in the sense where the game just lets you play and do whatever you want. It's survival in the sense where it's like a Resident Evil in a sense where you're trying to figure out where to go next and how to get there next. And you're kind of finding pieces along the way as you go.
Is there some big spooky alien that's always hunting you down?
There is some big spooky alien who is not quite always hunting you down, but he will be attracted by the things you do and start hunting you down because of that.
Oh, okay. So you have to be careful of the actions that you're doing that might trigger him.
But that's not all there is. The game only advertised that, but there's so much more to it. There's human enemies.
Mm-hmm.
There's
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's these characters. I guess they're basically rebels in terms of the city station you're on, and so they're enemies. They don't like you because they don't know who you are, and they want to kill you because they want to loot you.
Sounds like a cool concept.
And so they're kind of like Fallout's raiders basically in a sense. They're just kind of making their own existence and killing anyone who's not.
That makes sense.
And then there are the androids. I believe in the series they're called Working Joes, I think is what their terminology is, but they're androids. And if you watch the original Alien movie, you know what the androids look like.
Oh, okay.
They look humanoid, but in this case, they're like monsters. They have these pallid faces with these glowing eyes that are creepy as hell.
Ooh.
And they walk around and they just say lines to you like, "Are you lost?" as they go up to you and start ripping your face off.
Oh, God.
"Oh, have a nice day," as they lay your body crumpled and broken on the ground. It's the androids are my favorite part of the game.
That's cool.
They did a very, very good job with the androids because they have so many lines of dialogue. They have personalities of their own that they fit in the world very well. They don't feel random. They feel like they belong where they are.
Mm-hmm.
And they're creepy because they look scary. And the way they talk to you like they're going to help you, but they're completely on the fritz, so to speak. Like they're killing everyone.
Man, I love android and robot characters in games because you're right, they lack that emotion. And so they're just crazy.
They capture that perfectly in the game. I'm very impressed with Alien Isolation. I had very low expectations of the game, which is why I watched the playthrough, because I wanted to find out.
Mm-hmm.
And I was expecting it just to be oh no, aliens, come hide under the bed, hide in the closet, just like Amnesia or every other goddamn style game like that.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was.
So it wasn't.
Okay.
It was a solid game with a very solid story and solid gameplay mechanics. There's actual gameplay mechanics. So in the terms of survival, you find objects around the game that you can use to craft things. So you have a crafting system, and the crafting system allows you to craft pipe bombs, noisemakers that you can use to distract characters. You can craft more ammo, flamethrower stuff, really cool stuff like Molotovs too. And it looks great and it's fun to use. The mechanics are fun.
Cool. You might have to send me that playthrough because I'm a little interested now.
I definitely will. It was really entertaining. I actually could not take my eyes off of it. I didn't mean to watch the entire thing, and I ended up watching it all because I was enjoying it.
So let's talk about a few more of these games on the list here. One thing that was huge this generation was party games and battle royale.
And battleground games, yeah, totally.
So first there was the battle royale games. PUBG was the one that actually started off.
PUBG was the beginning, the infant, and then came Fortnite.
Fortnite, which is, you know what that is. I don't even need to talk about it.
We don't even need to talk about the game because that game is raging hard and still raging hard.
And honestly, I played it and I had a good time. A couple seasons ago, I played it through the whole season.
And they're updating it constantly with new stuff. They just recently got a hold of the Marvel IP to add to the game. And that has been a very, very excellent and lucrative thing for them.
I'm actually kind of upset that I haven't been playing Fortnite through this one because it looks really cool. And
yeah.
They're always doing in-game concerts, events. they partnered with Travis Scott to do that.
Yeah. I caught some clips of that, and I was like, "What? Is he a boss?"
It was such a cool event.
He looked in. It was cool. It was really unexpected and really cool.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with Epic Games for every way. You can say what you want about Fortnite, but it is like a monumental thing in gaming.
And so what did we got? Then Fall Guys came out.
Fall Guys.
That was a pretty big deal.
That was actually one of the only party games I've hopped onto.
Both of us did, and we enjoyed the hell out of that.
That worked out really well.
We played during its only brief period of mattering, and then Among Us came out and squashed it like a bug.
Isn't it funny how that works? It's one hit party game that just dominates.
I can only imagine how the developers of Fall Guys feel, because like they were on top, they were making all these cute little tweets. Everyone cared so much, and then Among Us comes around and everyone literally forgets about them. Like one day, they throw the ball out of the car, the dog chases it, and the car drives away.
That's exactly what happened. Is Fall Guys, they came out with their new update, and right when that happened, that's when Among Us took off. And actually, I think Among Us had been out for a while. For some reason, it just didn't hit.
Yeah.
I need to look into that, because I think Among Us had been out before Fall Guys even existed.
What triggered it? Like, what was the trigger for Among Us? Because I remember one day, like, going to sleep and it was Fall Guys, and then waking up and suddenly it was these weird references to there is still an imposter, and it's like, huh?
I don't know. Red seems sus to me.
It's always red. Red is always sus, dude.
I think it's just, you know how it goes. One streamer plays it, it's big, and then everyone's like, I want to play too.
Yeah.
Ninja's playing it.
Yeah, Ninja the
Pokemon.
Blue. Yeah, Blue
Pokemon.
Pokemon. Yeah, no thank you. So let's see. We had Among Us, Fall Guys, and then we had some more battle royales, which is
Apex. Apex Legends, made by the same developers that made Titanfall.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, Apex is amazing.
I forgot about Titanfall.
A lot of people did. Titanfall 2 is apparently one of the best like shooter campaigns this generation. A lot of people praise that one.
Campaigns?
Yeah.
I didn't know they had campaigns. I thought they were just battle royales.
No, so Titanfall was kind of a weird thing where it had a short campaign, and then I think its focus was trying to do the whole giant mech multiplayer thing.
Yeah.
And so in the second one, they ended up doing, I think they did the same thing basically, but they focused really hard on the campaign, and it ended up turning out to be one of like the best shooter campaigns. So
I did not know that.
It's kind of one of those sleeper hits where it's like no one really played it,
yeah,
but it's one of the best ones out there. And so Apex is Titanfall lore, and so a lot of the weapons and the stuff in Apex is from Titanfall 2 and stuff like that. So the shooting feels super, super good. The movement feels really good.
Mozambique here.
And they're still updating it. Yeah. Actually, a new season just came out for Apex.
I remember we played it a little bit and we got creamed every single time.
And that's the problem is Apex, it's my favorite battle royale, but it's also like the hardest for me because everyone just seems so good. And at least in Fortnite, I have a chance. Like, at least in Fortnite, I make it near the end, and then some, like, 12-year-old outbuilds me and makes a giant castle in 5 seconds.
Some 12-year-old builds, like, the Empire State Building, and meanwhile, you're in your little shack.
I'm, like, trying to build a shack just to defend myself.
Oh, man, that was bad. Yeah.
Oh, my God. And then,
what else we got? Overwatch.
Overwatch, yes.
Yeah, that still matters, yeah.
I mean, we tried that one.
So I bought Overwatch. I was fully planning to get into it, and I did not. I just didn't.
It was one of those same situations where we got into it too late and everyone was just kicking our ass.
The game didn't roll for me. Like when I played it, I didn't get into the mechanics very well, and I didn't like the fact that every time I died, I had to choose a new class.
Yeah, it's one of those, okay, yeah. That's something that I understand why it's in the game, but the fact that you can change your champion at any time when you die, it just feels like it's got to be so hard to have a meta. Like,
yeah,
maybe in pro play there's some kind of meta where it's like they only play these 10 champions, and so you learn them all, you're really good at all of them, and you just know how to fight against them.
And the gameplay just seemed a little schizophrenic in the sense where like you're playing in a match, then suddenly you're back in the waiting room, then suddenly you're in a match, and then you're in a waiting room.
They did fix it.
They did fix that.
I've gone back recently because I have a friend that like plays it religiously, and they got me to hop back in, and I tried it for a bit, and it was fun. The waiting room thing has changed. Yeah, they did fix that. It makes a lot more sense now.
Okay, because that just didn't make any sense before, and it kind of killed it. It helped kill it for me.
But it's one of those games where everyone's so good when you're a new player. Yeah. You're supposed to be playing against people that are your same skill level, but in the end, you're just playing against experienced players that made new accounts so that
Smurfs.
they could crack. Yeah, Smurfs.
Yeah.
What they call them. And you're just getting wrecked.
It feels unfair, and to a new player trying to get into the game, it kind of kills it, and it did for me.
Yeah.
But speaking of which, we did find a game, Paladins, wasn't it?
Yeah, Paladins is kind of like, I want to call it a budget Overwatch, only because it has a lower budget.
It's like a mix. I want to say it's like a mix of League of Legends with a little Overwatch. Like, it kind of has a basic in between of those two.
Yeah, it was more cartoony, but it wasn't as crazy. Like,
I liked it. We played a lot of that, and I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it.
I think the simpler graphics made it a lot easier to figure out what was going on.
Yeah.
Because Overwatch, there's just so much happening, you can't even learn the game because you're too worried about trying to not
And
get
also
killed.
every single time you have to change your champion because someone else takes it.
Yeah.
And I just didn't like that. But let's see. So enough about those games. What else do we got?
Yeah, okay, so I want to talk about some of my some games that made a big impact on me.
Okay.
This generation. Unfortunately, there are a lot of hit games that I haven't played, including Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, all those Last of Us Part 2.
Solid games.
I'm purposely saving those for PS5 just because I want the better experience.
The prettiness.
Even though they run perfectly fine on PlayStation 4, it sounds like my PlayStation's about to like take off. It sounds like a helicopter every time I play those games because it's so the fan is so stressed.
It's like that Xbox 360 fan thing you'd have to plug into the back with the 3 fans.
Exactly.
That would fry your Xbox.
And like honestly, it might not be a bad idea because it's getting cold outside now, so I can use my PlayStation as like a heater.
Yeah, solid idea.
But so Horizon Zero Dawn, that is one that I forgot when it came out, but
that was almost like a flagship title. I feel like
it wasn't quite. I think it was like a 2016, 2015.
Was it that far in?
Yeah, it was in the middle of the generation.
Okay.
And it was one of those games where, for some reason, I didn't pick it up early. You actually bought it.
Yeah, I had it pretty early on.
Yeah, you played like I think you got halfway through.
I got about halfway through the game, and it was awesome. I remember when they announced it and they were showing video gameplay of it. It was like, whoa, what is this game? This game looks awesome. Like, what the hell is it? And then it turned out to be just an amazing title.
It is definitely one of the coolest concepts of a game that I have seen in a long time.
Yeah, post-apocalyptic. You have mechanized dinosaurs and other monsters, just like big birds, big cats, like really awesome design.
Yeah, like you said, it's post-apocalyptic. The world basically died, and all that's left is all that's remaining is like
these mechanized monsters.
Yeah, these machines from like the old ones, which was like modern times.
Yeah.
But the world was destroyed, and so all you have left are these tribes. And it's like literal like old time tribes.
Yeah, it's very tribalistic in the sense where like almost Viking tribes. The first areas you meet are kind of Viking style, and then you kind of go into some other types and territories, more kind of almost Asian.
Yeah, it's very strange, and it makes you wonder like how the rest of the world is, because this takes place in the United States, and you find out
it's Midwest.
It's actually
or is it East Coast?
It's almost closer to West Coast.
West Coast, okay.
Yeah, it's what is it?
When I first played it, I thought it was like Seattle area. I thought it was like Oregon, Washington area.
It's Montana.
Oh, it's Montana. That's
It's actually Montana. And like sorry if it's a spoiler, but like you recognize certain places in the game, especially in the expansion, that give it a dead giveaway that it's Montana. It's actually right on the border of Montana and the state that's to the left of it. I'm like showing my geographical. It's like Utah, right, or something like that. Nevada.
It's one of them.
I need to go back to school. But anyways, so super cool game. It's one of the most beautiful games that I've played this generation. It's created in the Decima engine, which is created by Guerrilla Games, the developers.
Okay.
And Death Stranding actually uses the Decima engine.
Oh yeah, they do, don't they?
Yeah, it's actually. You can notice in Death Stranding that they took better advantage of it.
They took way better advantage of it because the one thing they didn't do, which Horizon unfortunately does, is Horizon's NPCs are kind of have like a very goldfish glaze to their eyes.
It's like the voice acting is good, but then they just have these like golem faces to where they're just like staring into the distance and there's no emotion.
They will literally be staring through your character with a 1,000-yard stare, talking about their daughter who just died or something, and they will have zero emotion on their face.
It is the weirdest thing because Aloy, the main character, hers is good.
She looks excellent. She looks beautiful. Like her, very realistic.
And the graphics are all great, but yeah, the NPCs
kind of have a two worldsness to them in a sense where they're like, hark, Did you see the bear the other day?
I don't know how they dropped the ball on that one when everything else was so perfect. But yeah, so I ended up going back and playing that game, 100%ed it. Got the platinum.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
I felt like I had to. It was one of those games where you're playing it and it deserves the time. And very few games do that. To me, the only two games that have done that for me are God of War, which came out in 2018, and Horizon Zero Dawn. Just the game is made so well, and you can tell the developers really cared.
You really can.
That you just want to give them the full attention because you know everything they put in there was worth it. Even the collectibles were like not that difficult, and there wasn't a ton of them. So
they were fun to find, actually.
Yeah,
like, they really were, and the challenges in the game were fun to do, like climbing on top of the certain types of creatures to get like special shots, like really cool.
Yeah, it just very good game. If you have a chance to play Horizon Zero Dawn, you should because. The second game, Horizon Forbidden West, is coming out.
It is.
In the second half of 2021. So, I mean, that's the big reason why I got this. I'm like, I saw that the sequel was coming out in PS5, and I knew it was a hit, so I had to go play it. Another game that stood out to me, which I played during the quarantine, or shelter in place, I should say, was called Inside.
Okay.
And Inside is more of an indie game. If you're familiar with...
That was on the PS4?
Yeah, I played it on PS4, but it is on all platforms. And it's made by Playdead. They did Limbo.
Yeah, Limbo. Okay. Yeah, I remember that one. That was awesome.
Yeah, so it's a side-scrolling game, and it's very, very eerie. So you start off in this forest, and you're just like this kid, I guess. And you're running through the forest, and you're running away from like police officers or something like that.
Oh.
And you're breaking into this facility. And the whole plot of the game is getting deeper and deeper and deeper into this mysterious facility and avoiding traps, the adults, like the things that are in there.
You know what that kind of reminds me of is like Stranger Things season 1.
It's very, it's kind of like that thing where it's like something's happening, but there's no dialogue. So everything that you're seeing is just like visual. And so you're learning what's happening by what you're seeing. And you're learning that like something really, really messed up is happening down here.
It's supernatural, right?
It's
because if they made Limbo, it'd have to be.
Yeah, so it's kind of like this weird experimentation thing going on.
Ooh.
And yeah, the style is just
the T-virus.
It's beautiful. Like it's side scrolling, and the way that they use, there's not much color to it. Like it's just like all
sounds about right for their design.
Different tones, but the lighting and the shadows and everything, it just. In the sound design is some of the best sound design I've ever heard in an entire game.
Okay.
I played with headphones on, and it's
creepy.
I can't give this game enough praise. It is definitely a 10 out of 10. I think it was like critically rated a 10 out of 10.
Holy solid Batman, man. That sounds good.
And I'm not going to spoil the ending because it's something that you get to the end, and it's like, it's like a holy shit moment.
Okay,
like,
you've sold me already. You've already sold me, dude.
I played it in one sitting. It's maybe like a 5-hour game, if you just keep going. It's got a lot of puzzles. So if you like solving interesting puzzles,
I love solving interesting puzzles.
Yes.
I'm a Resident Evil fan.
Yeah, it's the puzzles in Limbo are actually harder than the ones in Inside. So if you played Limbo, you'll have an easy time with this one.
I only played the demo for Limbo.
Oh, really?
I just got skewered a lot.
I actually played Limbo as well. I played Limbo right before Inside. It. Yeah, there was a sale for both of the games.
Damn, dude.
Like a combo.
Okay.
And so I played both of them together. And Inside was just like a clear winner to me. I think Limbo had some interesting puzzles, but oh god, the story of Inside. I just want to talk about the ending because it is so... Okay, I won't say anymore. It's just so good.
It was a good game, a 10 out of 10.
If you don't plan on playing this one, I would go look up a playthrough.
Okay.
Or maybe at least go check out the ending.
I kind of want to go buy it now, so you've kind of sold me.
It's one of those games where you beat it, and you just sit there staring at the screen after it's done, and you're like, so that just happened? And you're thinking about it like the whole rest of the day. You know when you go see one of those movies, and it has that ending where you're
like the ending to the original Night of the Living Dead?
You're just like contemplating life, and you're just thinking about, what the hell did I just... It's one of those experiences where it really affects you. Like
the virgin suicides?
It's just like so... It's messed up. Please.
It sounds awesome, dude. I don't think I've ever heard you talk about it that much before, so I'm kind of stoked now.
Yeah, I never really got in depth with it with you because it's one of those things you just got to play it.
Okay.
And since it's such a short game and it's on sale all the time, like you can find it for under $10 and definitely check that one out.
Okay.
What are some that stood out to you? Any great games or ones you want to talk about?
Okay, well, if we're talking about the last generation, one we do need to mention would be Fallout 4.
Oh yeah, of course.
I think that deserves mention.
Yes.
It's kind of a big deal. It's a very big deal for most people. It's an awesome game. I'm a big fan of the Fallout series. I played since the beginning. Played the original Fallout games, Brotherhood, all those ones, and then Fallout 3 when it came out. That was an awesome experience. But Fallout 4 was really good. It basically opened up the entire series because it's always been an open world game, but this one opened it up tenfold. It opened up the interiors. So one of the main things in Fallout 3 that I would notice is when you went to DC, because Fallout 3 was set in Washington DC, that you couldn't really go into a lot of the interior buildings. So it kind of felt like the city itself was not really much to look at.
Yeah.
But Fallout 4 incorporates the massive city of, I think, Boston?
I think that's where it is.
It's Boston, and it's skyscrapers and any type of building that would be in Boston of this in this game style, and you can walk into them. You can walk into them without loading into a new cell, or you can climb up to the skyscrapers and get to the top. It's really cool. It's really fun to explore. I
played a bit of Fallout 4 too. I beat the game.
Okay.
I didn't spend a ton of time afterwards. It was kind of like it's out. It's a Bethesda game. I have to play it, and so I got through it.
It's worth playing.
I think you spent a lot more time just jacking around on there.
I did. I spent a lot of time dicking around on it, and I enjoyed it. The story, in my opinion, is one of the weaker ones for Fallout.
Yeah.
In my opinion, the story's a little weak. I didn't like it that much. It had a lot of nuance to it, but I didn't like it that much. What I did like was the companion system.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that a lot.
Companions were good.
Companions were really good. They expanded how the companions work in the game a lot, because Fallout New Vegas had a great companion system and they just made it better. And the story's good. The characters are good. In some respects, I just think that I just didn't really care about the child personally.
Yeah, I understand that. It's one of those like classic. In Witcher kind of does that too, where it's like
Siri.
You're hunting down the child. Where's the child? Hunting down clues for the child.
So Fallout is a RPG. Make your own story, make your own character. And when I make my character doesn't have a child. I'm sorry, my character did not have a child. And so I was just given this squalling, wiggling thing that was named Sean, I guess, and it looked like, honestly, it didn't even look like my character. It looked like a baked potato, and I was expected to care.
That's the thing. When you're given these things that you have to care about in an RPG, it's like, I didn't really ask for that.
It's an RPG. I'm making my own character, and my character did not have a child, but he had a child, and I had to care about finding it, and I did not. But you eventually find out more about the child. I'm not going to spoil it. I won't say any spoilers in the story here, but you will eventually find out more about the child as you go in the story. He's of course important, and of course tropes, but it's a cool story. The story involves they call it the Institute. And it involves androids, and there's like varying classes of androids, and it kind of has this whole like Westworld, like 1970s thing where it's like, who is the real android? Is your mother an android? Who is an android? Are you an android? Do you even know if you're an android? It's cool. It's very sci-fi and very cool.
The more I think back to it, the more I enjoyed Fallout 4. I think for some reason, I think when I played it, I wasn't in a space where I wanted to spend a ton of time in it because I had other games I wanted to play. I was just trying to get through it. But looking back, when you mention it like that, it really did have kind of a cool situation. And it had settlements too, right?
They added a settlement system, which was really cool. So you would basically claim spaces and you would build towns. So this is one of the biggest parts of Fallout 4 was the building aspect. You could build your own house, your own town. You could build houses for everyone else. You could build anything from neon lights to light up your town. You could build anything from a bar, anything really. It was really cool and it worked really well.
I was going to say, as someone who's had experience in modding, this is the kind of stuff that you would do outside of the game.
This is basically in-game modding.
Yeah.
And when I saw that in the preview, I was stoked. And I played it, and I was still stoked. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it a lot. And I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to hack it, because you could only build so much.
Yes.
So I kind of figured out how to hack it a little more so I could actually build what I wanted to build. But I did, and I enjoyed it. I loved it.
Cool. Yeah, that was one of those things where again, you know me, I'm not the biggest fan of like, oh shoot, I have all these options. I have to build, I have to be creative. And my town was like the most basic shit. It was like, all right, I did what I had to do to get through the story, and I didn't spend much time because it didn't affect me that much. And I've seen some people's, and they really did go out. Like you said, you can put lights up, you can make it pretty.
They went all out. And when you had when modding finally became like an official thing, like they went all out. Like when the game first came out, the only mod you could really make for the game was a music mod because they didn't have a construction set or a GEC. So I just made like a basic music mod because Fallout 4 brought back a lot of the classic songs from Fallout 3, which was awesome, and they had a great music section, but then they kind of, in my opinion, mind you, they polluted it with a lot of rockabilly. Rockabilly music is good. I like it, but I don't like it in Fallout. It's not Fallout music to me.
Yeah.
I know people like it. I know they like Crawl It to the Fallout and, Rocket 76 or whatever. Like, I know they like it. Rocket 69, that was it. It was like a sexual euphemism. I just didn't like it that much. So I modded them all out and put more like fitting songs, like more Billie Holiday and stuff like that, because those are the songs that sound Fallout to me.
Yeah, I understand that.
But then people modded the hell out of the game and it had great mods for it. And the building system became even better and better as they also released official DLC, which honestly I feel like they could have reduced the price a little bit. The prices were a little high for them, but they were still good. They were all good in their own right. And Fallout 4 was a great game. It was very good. It was a very solid addition to the Fallout series.
I'm excited for a new Fallout, but who knows when that's going to be.
As long as it's not Fallout 76. I did not like Fallout 76 for the reasons that are pretty much often said and have been said very, very much.
Yeah.
Fallout 76 was after Fallout 4.
It's not mainline, that's the thing.
It's basically Fallout co-op. Like, let's add co-op to Fallout, which, sure, it sounds like an awesome idea, but it's a cash grab. The game is a complete and utter cash grab. I didn't like it.
It's what everyone dreamed about. It's like, I want to play Fallout with my friends. I want an MMORPG of Fallout. And so they tried, and then it was just a flop.
So it was very buggy and messed up when it was first released, but it's playable now. It's a game in its own right. It's, if you like it, you like it, whatever. But the only memorable thing about the game is literally the, Sweet Home Carolina or whatever song that played in the trailer. That was it. Take Me Home Country Road. That was it. With the big like Persian cat singing over the horizon.
It's one of those games where, just like No Man's Sky, where it had a really, really rough start. Exactly. And now if you go back and play it like 2 years later, it's actually a pretty solid game.
It's a solid game. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't like it. So Fallout 4 to me is the last Fallout that came out, and I'm excited for the one after it.
And any other games that kind of stood out to you this generation?
Let's see. What else? There was of course. How could I forget? Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yes. How much did you play of that?
I played quite a bit, actually. I played. I'm not going to talk about any story here, actually. I'll say that right now because I don't think you've played it.
I've put in like 5 hours, and that's just scratching the surface of that game.
No spoilers here. I'm just going to talk about gameplay mechanics then. Red Dead Redemption 2 was really, really, really good. It took everything from the first game. If you like the first game, you will love the second game.
Yeah.
And I say that 100%, like unequivocally, you will love this game. It is really good. The hunting aspect alone is the whole game in and of itself.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. Again, it's made by Rockstar, so you can expect a giant game.
Yep.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about how the game plays.
So, for one, they incorporated this really cool physics system. So, like, just the way your character walks, he can trip over objects in the environment really easily. And you can kind of do that in any Rockstar game. But in this game, it works a little better. And it makes sense when it happens. So you're kind of like, oh man, I should stop running here. I'm going to trip on every rock.
Or like if you're running in mud or something like that.
Your character, the way he interacts with the world is very good. And it feels good. And it's fun. And especially when you're on a horse, the way your horse interacts with the world, it's realistic. I mean, about as realistic as you can get. This isn't Barbie Horse Adventures. Like, your horse will, like, literally, like, trip off a cliff and die. It'll break its neck.
A lot of people were saying that it's a double-edged sword to where it's amazing how realistic the game is, but it can also be, like, you're just running away from an enemy or something, or you're running through town and you accidentally, like, bump into someone, and they're like, hey, partner, I'm gonna kill you.
So that, yes, that brings up another point. So yes, the horse stuff, the way you interact with the world is very realistic, but that brings up another point. This was a problem in Red Dead Redemption 1, and it kind of still is in Red Dead Redemption 2, where NPCs are really fucking fragile.
Yeah.
Like, and they have their sense of, I don't know, morality, like their sense of, I don't know, just justice in their head. Like, I don't even know what to call it because they don't have it. Basically, they don't have it. So you bump into them, you step on their toe, and they will start screaming to holy hell to have you gunned down or drawn and quartered in the streets.
And that's the thing is, you get a bounty in a town, and you can't go back.
You will. It is.
I mean, you can. But...
So the game does work with you on that, but they didn't really do much for the NPCs. The NPCs are just these ungodly tantrum throwing children that if you look at them wrong, they will literally start crying for your head on a pike.
And I know I haven't played much of the game. Like I said, I probably made like in between 5 and 8 hours. But a lot of the things that people complained about, I didn't experience. And I don't know if that's because I went in there with like the intention of, okay, be careful of how I'm running. Don't run through towns. Don't trample people on my horse through towns.
If you played Red Dead Redemption 1, you know not to do any of that stuff already.
Yeah.
Like the only time you did that stuff was when you wanted to trample someone.
When you wanted to make a ruckus.
So I didn't have those problems either. The problems I do have is just that the NPCs they're just not realistic still.
Okay.
Like they make comments to you. You can kind of interact with them. You can tip your hat to them, say hi. But like sometimes you're just like, why is this person being such an asshole to me?
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to walk past this camp. Like there's the road you're walking on, and there's like an NPC camped out next to it, like right next to the road, and you can't just walk past them. They're like, don't get any closer, partner. Partner, hey, mister, if you get any closer, I'm telling you, mister, don't get any closer. It's like I just want to walk past. Can I please walk by? And you can't tell them that because you can either pull your gun and blow their brains out, or you can tip your hat to them. And so it's like you don't have a choice.
Oh my god, that is very true. I encountered a few that I was like walking out of town, and this guy was like, hey, I don't like the way you're looking at me, and he just like pulls out his gun on you because he just doesn't.
And if you shoot them, guess what? Like
you're the bad guy.
Yeah, suddenly there's a guy up in like a tree somewhere who's like, I saw that. I'm telling you're going to get arrested. And he starts running away.
They literally do. They start running.
And
oh my god,
you're like, for one, why are you here? Like, I'm out in the middle of nowhere, and you're like this guy in a suit wearing a bowler hat, and you're now running away from me. I don't know how you got here, and he's hoofing it.
It's so true.
Like these people are like ravens in the trees. Like they perch up in the trees looking for any wrongdoing, and when they see it, they start flapping their meaty wings to go tell on you.
It's honestly so hilarious just to like hear them screaming. You see them running, and you like hop on your horse and chase them down. You can lasso them.
Yes,
and then you can intimidate them and be like, don't you go tell on me.
So that is one thing that they added in RDR2, which is really good. The intimidation thing for witnesses.
Yeah.
That much I do like, because it kind of stops you from having to like slit the throat of every witness you catch.
Because the thing is you're part of a gang.
Yes.
You're in Dutch's gang, right?
Yes, correct.
And so you are technically a bad guy. I mean, that's what you are.
You're kind of that one thing where you can either be a really bad guy, or you can be a really nice bad guy.
Yeah, it's the classic like I'm a villain, but I'm not trying to do no harm.
I'm a villain with heart.
I'm just doing this to get by.
So the witnesses and the way NPCs react to your character is basically just like RDR1, where it's just like, you're like, why are you doing this to me? And you know, again, once you kill a witness, guess what? Someone else saw that.
Yep, it's like a chain effect.
Oh yeah, no, you turn around, you look over, and there's like a girl standing like up on top of a mountain, and she starts yodeling for like someone to help her, and it's like, I just want to do my mission.
I know. Did you play as a good guy, or did you play as a bad guy?
I always try to play as a good guy first, but
Me too.
I actually ended up going bad. I got so sick and tired of it. I think the last time I was just going through town, and my horse stepped on a dog or something, and everyone in town started like screaming and shitting themselves. And I was just like, I don't know what I just did. I'm sorry, I guess. And nope, I like odd jobs came running out of the thing, throwing their hats at me, and like all the women were like, I just killed them all. I got done with it.
That's what's great about the game is you can. Like that's
you really
it allows
can.
you to do that.
And so the game is it's like we said, it's a Rockstar game. It has a lot of detail. It has a lot of really, really cool little details. And the characters themselves, like the NPCs that you can talk to, that you can do quests for, are really good.
I heard that they're all very, very good characters. The story that you care about, it's a very good story.
Completely. And you want to keep doing, you want to find out more about them. You want to help them. You want to kind of figure out their story, because it's Rockstar, and they know what they're doing with that regard. Like their NPCs might be complete idiots, complete like numpties, but they like the quests are fun.
That might be one of the first things I play on my PS5, because
I would highly recommend it.
I hope that they have some kind of like next gen patch. I feel like Rockstar of all people would be the kind of, because they're going to be porting GTA 4. God, they won't let that game die. GTA 5.
I would love to see that game like dead and buried.
That was on last gen. It was on this gen, and now it's going. This is probably the only game ever, apart from not even Skyrim, is they'll probably
Skyrim's a runner up, but it's not that far.
I'm sure we'll see Skyrim on next gen too.
I'm very ready to. GTA 5 was a great game, but we're not going to talk about it too much in this list because it was from the previous generation.
Yeah.
So it's a great game, but please let it die, Rockstar. RDR2 is so good. You can make such great games. Make another game, for Christ's sake.
And I think they are. They're following the formula where it's like
a decade
form. Yeah. So we'll see GTA 6 probably in 2028 maybe,
or God only knows. Maybe when we're in our deathbeds.
I was gonna say by the time we might not be playing games by the time that one comes out.
RDR2 is a great game.
Awesome.
The mechanics of the game are great. The collectibles of the game are great. I mean, I could go on and on. You could make an own cast for this game. It's really awesome. But
most of these games, I mean, that's the thing. We're talking about the best games of this generation.
So I mean, honestly, I would kind of say RDR2 is kind of my favorite on the list because I loved that game. I really liked it.
I'm excited to jump back in. I don't know why it was one of those, something else popped up. I popped out of it. And I was intimidated to go back in because it's a lot.
Yeah.
And just the mechanics of the game, having to relearn them is a little intimidating.
Yeah, but I mean, once you get back into the story, once you kind of figure out where you were, you'll want to play more.
Hooked again.
It's like watching a good TV series or a good movie.
And that's the thing, is everyone loves the Wild West.
Yeah.
It's one of the most fun times because it's the Wild West. I mean, anything's possible. There's no law.
And I'm so glad with RDR2 they went back in time from RDR1 because RDR1 was at the end of the West.
Yes.
And RDR2 went back kind of more into the heart of it. It's still a little kind of, I think it's 1870, 1880.
It's on the verge of, yes, because Red Dead 1, it was right when industrialization was happening.
1908.
Yeah. And cowboys were pretty much dead.
Everyone before RDR2 came out was thinking, oh, the next Red Dead Redemption is going to be like Red Dead 1920s, Red Dead 1930s, which fucking cool, awesome.
It could be cool, yeah.
But I want Wild West.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with it. Everyone loves horses.
So it's a great game. It really is. Let's keep going though, because I could keep talking.
I think we covered most of our list here. I think maybe a few things that we can mention.
Yeah, what's a game that comes to mind?
So there was Celeste.
Oh yeah.
I didn't play it. Have you?
I played for a hot minute at a friend's house, and I watched him play some of it, and it looked cool. It looked very good.
So that's like a platforming, like a Meat Boy kind of game where it's
I wouldn't necessarily call it that, but yes, I only saw a little bit of it, but it kind of had that aspect where it's really hard to get from where you're going, but unlike Meat Boy, it has a very deep kind of story going along with it, I think.
Yeah, it is. That's the big thing about it.
It's very story driven and it's character driven as well. Their characters seem really interesting, and I watched a few characters and talked to a few characters when I played it, and it seemed like there was a lot to find out with the characters as well as the world itself.
Yeah, from what I know, it's like a sprite based game, so it's got that old style,
kind of Terraria style.
Yeah, 8-bit, 16-bit look. And you're a girl who's climbing to the top of a mountain.
Yep.
And apparently, not only is it a physical journey, but it's about her mental health.
Oh yeah.
I think she's dealing with depression and all that kind of stuff. And
there are some really interesting parts. I remember one where it was a lot of ruined buildings, and you were climbing. These were cityscape buildings, very big buildings, and I don't know if they were reality or figments of her imagination because it seemed like it.
Yeah. All I know is that it's really deep. And a lot of people connected with this game, especially people that deal with mental illness.
Definitely.
And apparently it handles it very, very well. It has an amazing soundtrack.
It sure as hell did, yeah.
Visually, it's beautiful. It's one of those games why haven't I played it? I know I could sit down and probably beat this game in a night.
It's a great game. I feel if you like Inside,
I will.
Celeste would be the next step. It's probably more difficult, but definitely a good game to go to.
That's one of those indie games that is so good that I believe it was up for game of the year,
and it should have been.
Yeah. Not many indie games make it that far. I was gonna say
they don't.
The only other ones I can think of is right now Hades. I could see that one having a good chance because that's technically an indie game.
Oh man, Hades.
I think that about covers it. I think we covered most of them. The only one I might bring up because it did win Game of the Year was Sekiro.
Oh, Sekiro, of course.
Yeah. Shadows Die Twice. That is a Souls-like game.
Souls-like, of course, yeah.
Actually, I believe it was made by them. Right?
I believe it was, and it was very good. I have a close friend who played through it, and nothing but good stuff.
It's probably the furthest I've gotten in a Souls game so far, which is saying a lot for me because
Did you beat it?
No, I only got halfway through.
Okay.
I got to a point where like this boss was kicking my ass, and I usually don't give up, but with Souls game, it's like you die and you're like, oh my god, I gotta go all the way back.
So the style of this game is feudal Japan?
Yeah, it's Japan, and that's why a lot of people were excited. Is you're playing as like the ninja guy.
And how does that translate? Does it look really cool? Like, is the design really like a Souls game? Is it really cool?
It combines those two things that everyone wants. They want a new Souls game and they want feudal Japan.
Of course, yeah.
And so you get the best of both worlds, and it's a Souls-like. With most Souls game, you're just like walking around with a sword, and it's very clunky and it's not very fluid. I think Bloodborne is a little more fast-paced.
Bloodborne has a little more fluidity than compared to the old like clunky clunk.
But this one is different because you actually have like this grappling hook thing where you can grapple to like the top of buildings.
Yeah.
It has a lot more movement, and that resonated with me because I like having movement, you know? Mm-hmm. It's not like Spider-Man where you're zipping through the trees with your grappling hook or anything.
Oh my god.
But it's nice to be fighting in like the middle of a fight. You're like, oh shit, I'm about to die. You can grapple to the top of a building and like hide away.
Oh, cool.
Or then you can just hop back on top of them and attack. Of course, like every game, there's freaking archers. Like nothing I hate more in games than archers, where you're trying to run away and you see, phew, like this flaming arrow hits you and it takes out half your health. It's so annoying, and they hit so hard. But
there's always got to be something.
There's
like that.
always something where you can't escape.
So one thing I heard about this game though is the combat. The combat's very parry based, right?
It is, yeah. So instead of like Dark Souls where it's all about dodging, you're trying to hit the parries and get those counterattacks.
And it's kind of a must do, right?
It is a must do. Like if you can't get that down, you're gonna have a really hard time through this game.
Okay. And how did you like that? Like
I liked it.
You were a fan of that?
I caught on pretty well. Part of that is because I am a rhythm game player, and so when you're used to those like quick time,
parrying is kind of a rhythm.
Parrying is a rhythm. It's a rhythm of the fight, and which is funny because you'd think I would like Souls-like games because it's a rhythm. It is you're finding the rhythm of the boss, and you're hitting at their exact same moment. But you know, it's a whole different ball game. It's something. The thing is, I'm not bad at Souls games. I'm not bad at them. I can definitely do them. It's just the patience level where I just don't like having to repeat certain things and getting like punished that severely for my little mistakes. Again, it's the stupid thing where you're doing so good and then some low-level archer kind of guy who dies in one hit, but his arrows take out half your health. It's just very frustrating to just die by something stupid like that. You're worrying about this big boss who has all these special attacks which are hard enough to dodge, and then you see like this little scamp in the corner over there like hitting you with his fire arrows, and he's the one that kills you. It's just so annoying.
No, I hate those. There's an infamous spot in one of the Dark Souls games with these like ledges and these archers that just, if they hit you, you are gone. It's
just so frustrating having to deal with those things.
That's the Dark Souls 1,
and there's no like indicators like you're about to be hit.
Not at all.
You
have to pay attention.
Yeah, you have to pay attention. They either like yell or something like that, or I don't know.
So one thing I've heard this game compared to is Nioh. Is that a good comparison?
Oh yeah, so Nioh's like a Souls-like game as well. I've only played a little bit of it.
What did you think? I only watched someone play it, so I don't really have much of an opinion.
It is faster paced. So Nioh is like a fast paced Souls-like game,
but it's a little more of like an action,
It is more action based. Yeah. So it still follows the same formula: big hard bosses that are hard to kill.
Feudal Japan.
I don't know about feudal Japan. It is Japan though. I own Nioh. It's something that I need to play, so I can get back to you on that one.
But I've also heard a lot of mixed reviews on Nioh saying it's not that great. So that's kind of why I didn't really want to talk about it too much in this list, because I've heard a lot of people just say it's kind of a weak Souls-like game.
That's what I've heard too. I heard that the bosses are really cool. I think they do a lot of cool things in the game, and I think Nioh 2 improved on it.
Okay. So I don't know anything about Nioh 2.
I don't know either. Other than it's just better than Nioh 1. They just improved on it. So I don't know if it has a story plot where you need to play the first one to do the second one. But if not, you might be better off just to play Nioh 2.
I feel like nowadays a lot of games don't do that, so we're probably good on that.
It's got some interesting weapon upgrading system, I think. Anyways, so yeah, Sekiro, I believe it won Game of the Year 2019.
And it deserved it.
Yeah.
By the sounds of it.
It was
I really need to give that one a try.
it beat some hard games. And like 2018, I know God of War won it against Red Dead 2, which was like a big...
That was a big
2018
deal.
was... Okay, 2018 had Spider-Man, God of War, and Red Dead 2. Like, any of those games could have easily won Game of the Year.
Red Dead 2 should have, my opinion.
Are you... Well, go play God of War and let me know.
Okay,
you go play God of War, I'll play Red Dead 2, and then maybe we can come up with an agreement.
I mean, just play Red Dead 2 and just birdwatch. It's just so peaceful.
Honestly,
until you get mauled to death by a bear.
Until the bear shows up and kills you. Well, I think that about wraps it up. That's
I mean, that was a pretty comprehensive list.
I was going to say we talked about like a million games, so now we can look forward to next gen. The next episode, I mean, I'm going to have a PS5.
The next episode's going to involve you with your PS5, so this is going to be good. I'm just going to be an audience member, basically.
Hopefully I can get a chance where I can bring over the PlayStation 5.
I'd be stoked.
So you can check it out and get some ideas. So yeah, be very excited for next week. It's going to be a really special show.
Totally.
I know this one ran a little longer than usual. But
this was basically just a reminiscing one where we're looking back on the previous gen.
And how could you make this a short episode with how many games came out?
I mean, you can't just say their names. You have to talk about them.
You got to talk about them a little bit. And I feel like we talked about pretty much all of them.
Yeah, we talked about. I think we gave them all their fair share. In fact, probably a little too much share.
Probably a little too much. Anyways, thank you so much for joining us. Please follow us on social media. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter at Pod Out of Mana. We're also on Twitch.
And we're on YouTube now.
And YouTube. Yeah, so Twitch is Out of Mana Plays. And what are we on YouTube?
We are Out of Mana.
Just Out of Mana?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's something that we've been doing. We've been putting the audio versions of the podcast on YouTube. You're probably listening to it on YouTube right now because 90% of our viewership is actually on YouTube.
YouTube is a great medium. So if you guys are listening on YouTube, like, please feel free to leave a comment or just even a like, because all of that stuff helps.
Yeah, we love to see what you guys are enjoying about the show, even what you don't like. And yeah, let us know what you would like to hear. Let us know how we're doing. And also, you can always send us an old-fashioned email at podoutofmana@gmail.com, right?
Correct, yes. So, until next time.
Hopefully you filled up your mana, and we'll catch you next week.